talking about the third thing on the list of the 5 fundamentals, and that would be a way to measure and track your progress. This is something that definitely took me a little bit of time to perfect, to learn, and one of the things that really helped was working with a nutritionist. So they gave me a spreadsheet on like, hey look, these are the things that you're supposed to eat, and all you have to do, and like when we first started, it was just like, I don't care what you're eating, just write it down. That way I know, and then we can build a base. And so like having that tracking system allowed my nutritionist or my coach, my support, whatever you want to call it, see how I was doing and then how we can correct. And then that's the same with your fitness or your finances or any relationship that you have. So like in your fitness journey, you may track your sets, your weight, all of that stuff. And when you write that down, it allows you to look at it and say, hey, look, I can make adjustments here, I can do this. And so it's not necessarily law, it's not anything good, it's just a way for you to see where you're at and how you can make adjustments. So the more information you have in regards to tracking, the more information you provide for yourself, the more granular or small adjustments you can make to be able to make that progress. Because the more you progress, sometimes it's harder to make changes. Like when you're first starting out, it's like, hey, I'll just drink water, you make massive changes. But the further you get in your journey, sometimes it's a little bit harder because the tweaks have to be smaller. And the more you break down your tracking systems, the easier it is to know like, all right, this is where I can make the adjustment in order to move forward. So setting up a way to track what it is that you're doing, if it is your food, then write it down. You can use MyFitnessPal or some tracker. If it's sleeping, if it's productivity at work, it's like, hey, like how many phone calls am I making? How much of this? But like if you have those systems in play, you know how you can improve upon them. And then you'll also see like how productive you're being. If it is phone calls at work, you think, I make phone calls all day. And then you start writing them down, you're like, I only made 10, like that's actually not that much. And so then it allows you like, hey, I can push harder.
More mindfulness.
Exactly. And so the more you track, the more connected you are with what you're actually doing, and then you can see how you can push forward for that.
Because I'm sure you've heard, what is it Denzel Washington, who talks about movement. You know, you may feel like you're running super fast, going somewhere, and you're running on a treadmill and you're going absolutely nowhere, right?
Yeah.
We've all had those days at work where you come home, you're just like, oh my gosh, it was so busy at work, and then you're like, what did I do? You're like, what did I do? I don't know, but I'm mentally drained. So really being present and mindful in the moment, and the tracking will allow you to see, like he said, like what it is you're actually doing. I'm sure you've all gotten to the gym where you're like, wow, I feel like I've done this like 10-pound weight the past like 3 weeks. Like maybe you have, maybe you haven't. So how are you gonna build that muscle if you don't know where you started and you don't know how to progress? So make sure that you find that measurement system that will allow you to reflect and watch your progress and actually force you to move more. If you're like, oh, I made 10 phone calls today in regards to sales, you're like, if I want to make more sales, maybe I should make 30 phone calls. But really, measuring it so that you know where you're going.
Or it'll set up the difference, like she was saying, the difference between movement and progress. So then you can see like, hey, look, these are the things that I may not need to do anymore. So you can always look at what it is that you're doing and decide if you need to either eliminate, delegate, or automate something. And then it'll allow you to be able to push forward and actually like make progress rather than just spend a whole bunch of time moving around.